Social media and content marketing. Do you remember when it used to be so easy? There weren't that many people into it. All we had to do was create a blog and we could post on Facebook, and it just seemed so easy, and maybe it was almost too easy. And I can remember a couple of years ago, I was in an airplane and I just kind of got this overwhelming feeling that this is starting to feel hard. It's getting more difficult, more expensive to be in marketing today. So, for the last couple of years, I have literally obsessed about this, studying what is going on. Why is it so difficult to be in content marketing today? We're going to talk about that, but more important, we're also going to talk about what do we do about it. So I want to start by giving you a little history lesson, because I think if you see where we've been, it's kind of predictable where this whole thing is going. How many people recognize that sound? Raise your hands. The truth. That is the sound of excitement. I can remember the first time I plugged my laptop computer into the phone line in my kitchen. And I didn't know where to go. And my friend said, go to NASA. They've got pictures of galaxies there. So I started downloading this picture of a galaxy. And over about 10 minutes, I'm yelling at my wife, saying, come quick, this is a miracle. There is a picture of a galaxy coming through the phone line. Bring the kids. And the point is, in this first digital epic, there wasn't much to do. And we had lots of time to do it. So the business priority, and this was not that long ago, was to simply get something on the web. Once we had something on the web, we had to be discovered. And so starting with things like Alta Vista, eventually Google, we created a $26 billion industry meant to trick Google into thinking we are in fact the best. Now, this is where we are today. It's enabled by this technology, social media, mobile, fueled by content. And so we have a presence, we can be found, and the business emphasis today is on utility, on usefulness, on helping our customers find us at their point of need. It could be on the way to dinner, it could be in the middle of a cornfield. But here's the problem that we're facing. And by the way, the fourth circle is coming at us pretty soon too. I'm sure you heard all the buzz from South by Southwest about wearable technology and augmented reality, virtual reality. That's going to be the fourth wave, but that's still a few years off. So we've got a problem right now, and here's what it is. As you get to the end of each of these cycles, it gets harder to be in marketing. So if you were the first business in your vertical with a website, oh, happy day. You had an advantage until your competitors figured it out. If you were the first one to figure out SEO, good news, good news, good news. You were going to have an advantage for some period of time, and then those keywords became more expensive. And that's where we are today. Social media marketing works. Content marketing works. And more companies are piling on trying to get a piece of this. This is a statistic I saw a few years ago that blew my mind. And this is a conservative number, that the amount of information on the web is going to increase by 500% by 2020. Let's get our minds around this number a little bit. If you can imagine how vast the internet is today, in a few years, we're going to have 5 of those. Do you think it's going to be a little more difficult to be in marketing? Do you think it's going to be a little more difficult to get those customers to find you? So, this is the supply side of the equation. Let's look at the demand side of the equation. And there's a couple interesting takeaways from this chart. This shows that today, on average, people consume about 10 hours of content a day. And this number went up by 2 hours a day in the last 3 years. I'm sure you know why. Mobile, right? We're consuming content everywhere, all the time now. Now, the first thing to think about with this chart is every time there's been a new technological revolution, a new media revolution, content consumption has gone up by a lot. So, for centuries, all we did was read newspapers and books. Then, 1920s, radio. 60s and 70s, television, cable television. Then the digital revolution. So one thing to think about, in this 4th wave that's coming, there will be a first mover's advantage. The internet will surround us like the air that we breathe, and there may be another leap in how people consume content. The other thing to think about, and I think about this a lot, is how much higher can this go? I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to feel tapped out a little bit. In fact, there's no one in this room, and no one that we know, who has lived in a world where we weren't consuming more and more content. We've never lived in a world where this number wasn't going up. And I worry as marketers that we kind of lull ourselves into this false sense of security that, oh, well, we'll just keep on making more and more content. They'll just keep consuming it, and that's not what's happening. So how much higher can this go? 11 hours a day? 12 hours a day? There was actually a professor at the University of Southern California that predicted by the end of next year, this number is going to be 15 and a half. Now let's do the math on that. 15 and a half hours a day, we sleep 8, and Americans spend 32 minutes a day in the bathroom. That means we're over by 2 minutes. Something's got to give. So the implication is we will probably, as a nation, stop brushing our teeth. Because according to this professor, all we're going to do is sleep and consume content. That's ridiculous. But I think the idea is there is some physiological limit to how much content we can consume. So here is this wall of content coming at us. These are projections by companies that sell servers and stuff like that. They need to know how much information is coming at us. And this is expressed in exabytes. What is an exabyte? I actually don't know, but I use exabytes because it makes me look cool, and it's something very big and important. But we never had 1 exabyte of information on the web until 2005. And by 2020, we're going to have 60 of those things. Now, let's go with this idea that there is some limit. There's just a physical limit to how much content a person can consume in a day. That kind of creates this episode that we're going into right now that I refer to as content shock. In